In this video, we'll go over all of the WoW news from the past week and try to compress it into a bite-sized video. This week's event is Bonus Battlegrounds. If you want to do Battlegrounds for fun or to grind honor for those prestige awards, this week isn't half bad for doing that. The best and most efficient way to farm honor is to just do the Warden Tower World Quest every day. But if you want to get honor a little sooner, this event kind of works towards that goal. Just remember, if you're Horde, make sure to use your 2 blocks on the random battleground queue for AV and Isle of Conquest. And if you're Alliance, use your 2 blocks on Twin Peaks and Mines. Now, I usually don't mention the Archaeology bi-weekly quest or the World Boss for the week unless they drop something good. But people have been asking for that info on weeks I don't mention them, so I thought from now on, I'll just let you know about both of them anyway, and tell you if they're worth doing. First up, the World Boss for this week is Anna Maz, who doesn't drop anything worth going out of your way for. And the Archaeology bi-weekly is for a trash item that vendors for 5,000 gold. Which, I mean, depending on how much you need, 5,000 gold isn't really worth it. This past week, Battle for Azeroth's official release date was announced for August 14th, which is a little bit earlier than their first estimates. Also with the release date, they announced a few other things, like the pre-patch probably coming out a month before the release date. The pre-patch will include the Mag'har Orcs and Dark Iron Dwarf Alliance races, with Zandalari Trolls and the Cultists Humans coming out in a later patch during Battle for Azeroth, and will not be available at release, which kind of cheesed off a few people since Trolls were announced first, along with all the other allied races, and yet they're giving out the Orcs before them, which were announced way later. The pre-patch will also include the Battle for Lordaeron and the Burning of Teldrassil events, plus some story-driven quests for the Night Elves and Forsaken. I don't really know what that means though, but either way, half my characters are undead, so I'll be able to check it out nonetheless. Also, the most exciting thing to come out from the Battle for Azeroth news is that they confirmed to be continuing the pet battle dungeons. As many of you probably know, as I'm sure all of you are avid pet battlers, the pet battle dungeons introduced in Legion had a bit of a little story going on, and they just abruptly stopped after the pet battle dungeons, which were data mined for Nomergon, never actually came out, and instead was just one trainer. So this is good news for pet battlers, and therefore all WoW players. I'm sorry, I know that pisses some of you off. Currently on US Realms, the Mage Tower is active. Remember, you won't be able to get the Mage Tower appearances anymore after Battle for Azeroth launches, which is about 3.5 months away. So, if you've been putting off getting the appearances on your main or alts, now is the time to hurry up and do them. So I've been slowly gearing up my Rogue and Mage to get some of those appearances, and man, is it tough gearing up alt DPS characters. My main is a healer, so I'm kind of used to quick queues and instant invites to everything. You DPS players have it tough. The remote auction house will retire on April 18th. Even as a past hardcore auction house player, I never actually used the app, so I don't really care. It was always more easier to just do things in-game with auction house add-ons, but for those of you who did use it, well, it's going away and there doesn't seem to be a replacement. So, with the news of Battle for Azeroth official release date, Blizzard also put out the materials for the physical collector's edition, which will include a short story about the burning of Teldrassil, told from both the Alliance and Horde's point of view simultaneously, and they even released a little excerpt from it. The Alliance one just shows a bunch of Night Elves getting killed by rogues, but the Horde one was kind of amazing. It has Malfurion showing up in the middle of a Horde base by himself, facing down Sourfang, who is in total awe of his power. It does a really good job of showing just how powerful Malfurion is, if even Sourfang is afraid of him and just thinks he's straight up going to die. Of course, that was before his benevolent ruler comes in and saves the day. The Broken Shore Zorathian cultists have been channeling again. The last 2 times they were channeling, at the end of their insanely long cast, patch 7.3.5 dropped, and again, the Seething Shore Battleground was released. According to people who've done the math, it seems their cast will finish casting on Wednesday, April 25th. So, maybe expect something on the 25th? Although I did read that the date might be wrong and is actually not showing the true cast time because the real number is much larger and not showing up yet. Also, Blizzard denies that the casts mean anything, and that the last 2 times were just a coincidence. Which is like, yeah right Blizzard, sure. The add-on spotlight for this week will be on range display. You may have noticed in some of my videos that there are 2 random numbers right above my action bar. Well, that's actually how far away my target is from my character. I originally installed this add-on back when my hunter was still my main, and hunters couldn't attack in melee range. So it was a little bit more important to know your range back then. Nowadays, I'm just used to it, and I can't play without it. On melee characters, it lets you know if you're at max melee range. On range characters, it lets you know if you're at max casting range, and how much further you have to go to get into range. You know, stuff like that. It shows your range. And it even changes color based on range, like red if you're too far away and it turns like green or white immediately as soon as you're in range. It's a really helpful add-on. I'll have download links in the video description if you want to check it out. Now, for this week's smaller YouTuber shoutout, did you guys know I have a Yu-Gi-Oh channel? It doesn't do half bad for itself, and is currently at about 23,000 subscribers. There's literally nothing WoW related there though, but if you like gimmick decks and Yu-Gi-Oh, my Yu-Gi-Oh channel is the place to go. Also, if you guys have some channels you think I should shout out in this spot of the video, let me know in the comments. Just a note, the channel has to be smaller than my own, and I have to personally like their videos, so I make no guarantees about actually shouting out your suggestions, but I will check them out. And with that, I'll see you all next week.